Hi, welcome back to Box Delights. In this video I'm going to be teaching you how to play Mound Builders from Victory Point Games. This is a solitaire game in their States of Siege series, this time designed by Ben Madison and Wes Ernie. It's interestingly themed, this one, and it covers a long period of history from 250 AD all the way up to the 17th century. You represent the two largest pre-Columbian Native American or American Indian mound builder cultures that dominated eastern North America until the coming of the European colonists in the 17th century. So in the early part of the game you'll be expanding your control across North America, incorporating the various chiefdoms into your economic and religious sphere, your empire, which is threatened from outside by competing ideologies as much as by hostile armies. Your goal is to extend your mound builder culture and amass as many chiefdoms as possible before rival native powers rise up to drive you back to your Mississippi River heartland and extinguish your vast capital here at Cahokia. There's 3 decks representing each era. We're going to start with the Hopewell era, which the green cards, we have the yellow Mississippian, 2 black Spanish, and then we have a bunch of generic cards. We're going to start by just drawing 2 random green Hopewell cards and get rid of them from the game, just to add a little bit of variability, really. So this is going to be our starting deck. Everything else is going to go to one side for now. And we're ready to begin the first turn of the game. We've drawn these 5 random chiefdoms, and each one of these has a strength, these numbers, and also a type of good that we can trade. Our objective is not only to expand, but also to diversify our trade goods, because diversification makes us stronger. The other way we can strengthen these chiefdoms is to do this mound building. On the reverse side here, we see this mound icon. They produce the same goods, but their battle value improves and they become harder to defeat. The map as a whole represents the great American woodland, and this was the home of all the continent's mound builder cultures. Cahokia is your capital. These are 5 war paths emanating from Cahokia's like spokes from a hub, and each one of those is named after the Indian nation which threatened the Cahokians. We have the Ho-Chunk, the Shawnee, Cherokee, Natchez and Caddo. Each of these rectangular points at the end of these warpaths is their tribal homeland, and at some point these guys will be marching inwards, moving through these lands, and these round ones here, these are wilderness. We, during the Hopewell era, are trying to expand, absorbing these neighbouring chiefdoms into our empire, and then as we advance into the second Mississippian era, that's when these hostiles will appear on the map. Oh, well, anyway, let's crack into it, and I'll show you how it plays, and we'll kind of learn some of the details as we go along. Like all good States of Siege, first thing we're going to do is draw the first card from, this is the history deck, lay it face up, and enact this card. We've drawn Spiro here. Now the interesting thing about these cards is, this is the stuff that we're going to be doing, this is the game mechanisms. We've also got an image and also some historical text here. I'll read this one to you because one of the things I didn't realise was that they had these mounds across North America. I think predominantly burial mounds. Let's just read this and absorb it and understand. I'm not going to read any others, but just to get a feel for the flavour of who these mound builders were. The furthest west Mississippian town, this site in eastern Oklahoma, originated around 800 AD. A powerful regional chiefdom, Spiro is famous for its 11 platform mounds and a single burial mound dominating the central plaza. Evidence exists for the ritual game of chunky, as well as for social stratification between an elite precinct and a separate support city. Spiro went into decline after 1250, but seems to have been used as a religious centre for another 2 centuries before fading away completely. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of context about what we're doing. We've also got this little reference card here which gives us a handy sequence of play and player actions. So it's a pretty easy and familiar structure. You follow the card, you get action points, you spend those actions. Okay? You should also be aware that the aim is to score as many points as possible by extending your influence, but you will lose the game immediately if your capital falls. Now, during the Hopewell era, we're going to be, if things are relatively peaceful, we can just think about expanding and setting ourselves up for the next era. So it's interesting that the first phase is really this kind of peaceful expansion, setting yourself up for the conflict yet to come. Okay, let's revisit our history card and see what happens here. First thing we need to do is check this number here. This action point is AP's number 3, and this is in a white circle. You may also see some in a black circle. For the time being, white circles is all we're going to see, really. This gives us 3 action points. So all we do here is move our action point marker up to 3. Notice it says save 1 action point. You can only save up to 1 action point. There is a way to advance that, to save 2. That's kind of an optional advanced game mechanism, but for now, remember we've got 3 action points, we can save 1 between turns. Next we look at hostiles, and what we see here is a downward pointing arrow, and this represents a warpath status. This brown colour represents which warpath, so in this case it's the brown Caddo. So we take this marker, and it's a downward pointing, so it's a -1. If it was upward pointing, it would be a +1. So the Caddo are in decline, and we place this here to tell us. And this is good for us, because what this tells us is that on the Caddo warpath, we're going to get some favourable modifiers when we're trying to expand along this warpath. Next we check to see if there's any revolts, and it says it's a Cherokee revolt. Okay? So all we need to do here is grab ourselves a 6-sided die, which I didn't get with the game, I don't think. I think mine was missing. Anyway, never mind. We'll just grab one. And we've rolled a 6. That's a pretty good result, because what we do is we look at and this was a Cherokee revolt, so we look at the Cherokee warpath. There's no effect if the number, and these go from 1 to 6, if the number matches either the round wilderness spot or the rectangular tribal homeland space. So nothing's going to happen. And that's it. We've resolved the card. That's what they call the economic phase completed. Now we've got to spend our action points. Remember, we can only save 1, so there's no point not spending them. So let's start to go through them. There are a couple of actions that are only available during the Hopewell era. So we'll have a look at those first. The first thing we want to try and do is incorporate one of these chiefdoms into our kingdom. So let's go for, well, since the Caddo are in decline, let's go for Mika. It's a nice easy one anyway. So if we want to incorporate this into our kingdom, this chiefdom here, then we have to spend 1 action point. So I'll slide this from 3 to 2, and then we have to roll a 6-sided dice. And we have to roll greater than this battle value here, greater than a 2. The good news is that because this is in decline, this gets a -1 modifier. We only have to roll higher than a 1. So let's roll. And yeah, we got a 2, so we managed to achieve it. And this is where we use these peace pipes. So we're going to grab one of these 5 peace pipes, and we'll place it here next to Mika to show that now our kingdom has expanded into this land, into this chiefdom. The peace pipe shows the furthest extent of your kingdom along that warpath. Normally at this point you would now go and grab one of these chiefdoms randomly. It's like we've explored further on, and you would discover what's in the next point along the path, the next land along the path. However, this on this path is wilderness, so there is no chiefdom in wilderness. That's by definition. Okay, but we can advance into the wilderness if we wish. All we need to do is spend an action point and move our peace pipe up. And now, once we've moved into this wilderness where there is no chiefdom, we can discover, in this case, what's in Marksville. So we draw a random tile. And mound side down, we get 2 feathers. What's important here, remember, is that during this phase, this historical area, we're trying to advance, we're trying to move our peace pipes out along these paths. And we're trying to incorporate as many different types of goods. So we've got 1 Mika. Here we could go and grab 1 feathers, and we only need to roll higher than a 1. So why don't we go do that? So we'll spend another action point, we'll roll the die, we need to get higher than a 2. And we've rolled a 1, we've failed. Okay, in this case, nothing happens. We just stay where we are. And that's it, we're out of action points, so we just do a quick piece of housekeeping. So we'll remove any markers, this one goes back to the box here, and we're ready to draw a new history card.